In the darkest hours of the 20th century, the world faced an unspeakable horror: the Holocaust. This catastrophic event, spawned from the venomous ideologies of Nazi Germany, cast a long and deadly shadow over the globe. The Holocaust was not just a war, but a systematic, state-sponsored persecution and massacre. 6 million Jews, men, women, and children, were stripped of their basic human rights, brutally targeted and murdered. In this time of darkness and despair, stories of individuals began to emerge. Tales that embodied the human spirit's resilience and the will to survive. One such story belongs to a young girl. Her name was Anne Frank. She wasn't a soldier, a politician, or a public figure. She was an ordinary teenager with an extraordinary spirit, caught in the maelstrom of these horrifying events. Among the victims was a young girl named Anne Frank, whose life and legacy are still remembered today. Born on June 12, 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany, Anne Frank lived a life much like any other child of her time. Growing up in a loving family, Anne was the second daughter of Otto and Edith Frank, with a 3-year older sister, Margot. Known for her vivacious spirit and knack for storytelling, Anne attended the Montessori school in Frankfurt, where she flourished academically and socially. But as the 1930s rolled on, the dark cloud of Nazism began to loom over Germany. As Jews, the Franks were increasingly targeted by the rising tide of anti-Semitism. Otto Frank, a prudent man, could see the writing on the wall. In 1933, he made the decision to uproot his family, leaving their homeland for the relative safety of Amsterdam, Netherlands. In Amsterdam, Anne resumed her education at a Montessori school, where she quickly made friends, showcasing her lively and outgoing personality. Life seemed normal for a while, and Anne enjoyed her new home, blissfully unaware of the impending storm. However, as the Nazi regime expanded its reach, the Netherlands fell under German occupation in 1940. Anti-Jewish laws were soon implemented and life became increasingly difficult for the Franks. The once vibrant and outgoing Anne was forced to transfer to a Jewish-only school as the world she knew began to crumble around her. As the Nazi reign of terror spread, the Frank family found themselves in the crosshairs, leading them to make a life-altering decision. In July 1942, the Franks made the heart-wrenching decision to go into hiding. It was a decision made out of desperation, a choice born from the terror of the Nazi regime. The Franks were Jewish, and in Nazi-occupied Amsterdam, that meant a life under constant threat. The family had already received a call-up notice for their eldest daughter, Margot, a chilling summons to report to a Nazi work camp. This was the last straw. The family had been preparing for this possibility for over a year. Otto Frank, Anne's father, had been arranging a hiding place in the secret annex of his office building. It was a cramped space, barely enough room for a single family, yet they were not alone. 4 other Jewish individuals joined them in hiding: Hermann and August van Pels with their son Peter, and Fritz Pfeffer, a dentist. Moving into the secret annex was anything but easy. They had to leave their home in broad daylight, wearing as many clothes as they could to avoid suspicion. Their faces were calm, but their hearts pounded with fear. Each step was a step into the unknown, a step further from the life they once knew and closer to a life of confinement, uncertainty, and constant fear. In this cramped annex, Anne would find solace in a seemingly ordinary object: a diary. Life in the secret annex was a test of endurance, patience, and hope. Imagine this: 8 people living in a cramped space, cut off from the world, with the constant fear of discovery looming over their heads. There was no room for privacy, no chance to step outside for a breath of fresh air, and the simplest tasks, like flushing a toilet or walking around, had to be done with utmost caution to avoid detection. Their days revolved around the rhythm of the workers in the warehouse below. They had to maintain absolute silence during the day, and only at night could they move freely. The annex was not just a hiding place, it was a place where ordinary life had to continue, albeit in hushed whispers and soft footsteps. This was their reality for 2 long years. Amidst these trying conditions, Anne developed relationships with the other occupants of the annex. She had a strained relationship with her mother, Edith, but was very close to her father, Otto. Her relationship with Peter van Pels, another occupant of the annex, evolved from irritation to affection, providing her with a semblance of normal teenage life. But it was in her diary that Anne found her most trusted friend. She candidly shared her thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams with her diary, which she named Kitty. Through her writings we see Anne's resilience, her ability to find beauty in the bleakest of surroundings, her growing maturity, and her unwavering hope for a better future. Her diary entries were a testament to her spirit and her enduring belief in humanity, even in the face of immense cruelty. She wrote, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart." This optimism, this faith in the face of such adversity, is what sets Anne Frank apart. It's what makes her story resonate with us, even today. While hiding, Anne's diary became her confidant, a beacon of hope amidst the despair. In August 1944, their hiding place was discovered, but Anne's voice would not be silenced. The secret annex, once a refuge for Anne and her family, was stormed by German police. The Franks, along with the others who had sought shelter there, were arrested and sent to concentration camps. Anne and her sister Margot were transferred from Auschwitz to Bergen-Belsen, a camp notorious for its inhumane conditions. It was there in early 1945 that both sisters tragically succumbed to typhus. Anne was just 15 years old. While the world lost Anne Frank, it was not the end of her story. After the war, Otto Frank, Anne's father and the only survivor from the secret annex, returned to Amsterdam. He discovered Anne's diary, meticulously kept during their time in hiding. It was a poignant and powerful testament to her spirit, her dreams, and the horrors they endured. Otto made the decision to publish Anne's diary. He believed the world needed to hear his daughter's voice, to understand the human cost of hatred and prejudice. In 1947, the diary of a young girl was published, and Anne's voice echoed around the globe. The diary has since been translated into over 70 languages. It has enlightened millions about the Holocaust, allowing them to experience the events through the eyes of a young girl. Anne's words, her fears, her hopes, and her indomitable spirit continue to touch hearts and inspire empathy. Her diary has become one of the world's most widely read books, a stark reminder of the atrocities of the Holocaust. But it is also a testament to hope, to the resilience of the human spirit under the most dire of circumstances. Anne Frank, a young girl in hiding, left behind a legacy of hope, resilience, and the power of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable horrors.